In this segment, I want to recap that what is occurring now is essentially the end game. And in the end game, it is the culmination of all these wars that are meeting the convergence of what I call the event horizon, where the universe itself and what it's doing is converging the energies to a 0 point. And in essence, this entire hijacking is affecting the entire universe, and it can't be allowed to continue. So even though we have all of these factions that are fighting one another for the greatest resource in the universe, which is us and Mother, this is the ender's game, the end game. And regardless of the offspring that have hijacked humanity, regardless of the different demiurges, the archons, the reptilian, the drac, the mantis, it doesn't matter. Names are just names. These are forces and principalities that have technologies and powers and that are operating with sorcery technology. And that in itself fuses with the ability that we have innate, which is unlimited, and it's a meta gene ability, it's a meta being, metaphysical ability. This is the very reason why we are, in essence, the chosen ones, and there is no limit to what we can do. There's no limit to our telepathic capabilities. They can go throughout the universes, the multiverses. There is nothing we can't reach. We are in ourselves the stargates. We do not need technology to create any of the things that they need technology for, but they require us and our creative ability to manifest and create for them the technologies that they have even. We ourselves are the technology, and we ourselves are the metaphysical, unlimited beings that are the stargates, essentially. And there's so much to discuss, because we can even look at how in the origin of inception of all of these powers, there is the dragon mothers, there is the dragon and the serpent lineages, and that there are also the goddesses, the fire goddesses, which created life, in essence. And we can look at how some of these dragon queens have high jumped inside the fire blood of these women who are carriers in order to travel through and traverse and escape, or try to escape reality, which is also part of what looks like magic to us. All of these abilities that are done in the astral realms, these are all technologies that are made to look like they're magic, and we have been mind controlled to believe that magic is magic, when in fact we are magic. So the synopsis is, regardless of whether these, on the one hand you have the children of the parents or the bastard children who are themselves hybrids, and they're affiliated with other beings themselves who, have a piece of the pie. It all comes down to law. It all comes down to law when it's this reality, and that's where agreements are. So I do want to talk about where our power comes in, and how and what we need to do for ourselves so that we can start truly living and enacting and breaking through these matrices. Because it's more than one matrix, it's more than one overlay, and it's a setup. And even the way that we function on a day-to-day is either feeding the illusion, which further traps us inside with unlimited chains, and it connects us to all of these entities, which this is a really unlimited topic, so we have to narrow down.
You discussed all these wars, all these factions, all these ways that they're bypassing the law to override our sovereignty, to disempower us on a daily basis, to snare us deeper and deeper into a web. What does the average person do on a day-to-day basis? Like, if someone wants to just say, okay, I'm finally open to this, but I don't know where to start. but I know I need to make some major changes because I feel that this landscape is rapidly changing.
Well, first of all, you have to shatter the illusion of your own personal setup, and you have to be able to see through what is really going on around you. So I would advise people to start really asking yourself if what you think you're seeing is true. If your own personal setup is rigging you for some artificial loosh, for some artificial means by which you're being manipulated. And if you see that you are being used or targeted or manipulated, and you're emotionally being played like a puppet, either positively or negatively, then you need to cut those cords. You need to learn about what that is. You need to learn about the agreements that you make, and you need to start cutting what all of that is. So if there are entity attachments, you need to cut those cords. You need to start cleaning your aura. You need to start living a lifestyle where every decision you make, you know, is important and is vital, and it has to be connected to your spirit. So we need to start comprehending that every choice we make in life is affecting the universe and our universe. And it's either going to be for our liberation, if we are fully conscious of our choices, and if we're not, then it's going to end up resulting in some unnatural, artificial attachment to an entity, power, a technology, some alien force, a government, some manipulation. So cutting cords is vital, but being able to see through what your personal setup is also vital, to see where you're being targeted. Being able to clean your mind, start comprehending that you've been mind controlled, that the way that you even are made to think is a part of that. So who are you? What does that look like? Does it even matter? I mean, we're taught that a name is important. We're taught that a personality or the way we dress is an identity. All of that is garbage. That's all a part of the illusion. How do you discern the feeling between your soul and what you feel and what you think you are versus what your spirit is? Well, your spirit doesn't care if it has a name. Your spirit doesn't care if it's dressed a certain way. There is no feeling attached to your spirit. It's an all-knowing. It's an all-completeness. You have to start shattering the nature of the illusions, even on a real fundamental level, about you and how you live and what you choose every moment. And you know what? Look at what your choices are and see what is connected to that, because there are ramifications to our choices. There are deep ramifications, and things are different. There's no more recycling. There's no more re-looping your life and integrating you back into a karmic cycle. This is the end game. This means that what's occurring now in the universe with sentient beings that are locked in this prison matrix, particularly, there is no more recycling of the soul. This is the make or break. This is when you either take back your entire consciousness and live with that consciousness on a day-to-day, or you relinquish that, you stay numb, and when the universe converges in the event horizon, you're just going to be compressed and made into dust. And there is no procuring an essence out of that at that point. So this is what is so vital about what's happening now. This is why this quote war, even though it's war within a war within a war, is about your soul. It's about your spirit. It's about your essence being in a precipice where you could lose it. And it's entirely, the game is different now. This is the end game.
So that's what the Bible would refer to as the second death?
This is the second death. Yes. This is the second death, which is the ultimate, because there is no reviving the body or the soul at that juncture. So if you choose not to be conscious, if you choose the illusion, and if you choose the seduction of that illusion, then you're choosing to
be absorbed
back into it. Whether artificial, whether it's the antiverse, whether it's you will be no more. And you will be condensed into that nothingness.
I mean, a message like that would strike fear into many.
Yes.
Just based on the fact that many would consider themselves not to have done enough work. Most people are just trying to manage, pay the bills, you know, just the everyday grind, mortgages.
Absolutely. And this is not meant to strike fear. This message is to wake people up, because we are the ones in power. See, this is the thing. Fear is a thing that you feel only if you are not engaging with your spirit and your consciousness. Fear is a thing that has to do with you not wanting to be accountable in all your choices for your spirit consciousness. And what that looks like is taking responsibility. If you choose to be afraid, then you have to ask yourself, what am I holding on to? What's the crutch that I'm leaning on here? What am I clinging to that is preventing me from wanting my full consciousness and my full spirit in control of my vehicle and in control of every choice I make? So see, this is where, psychologically speaking, including with the anomalous, which is, you know, this opens up the whole aspect of, then you have to look at perhaps what is it that you're avoiding? Why is it that it's so difficult to not want to be fully conscious? And so that is you having to look at yourself. That is us having to look at our own core wounds, our own issues, and understanding where that lapse is. Where is that point where you lost yourself and are in that void, the artificial dark void, which is not the right void. This is the wrong void. This is the very area that AI takes over. This is the area that, and this is another topic which I could go into, but it's the beast, the Leviathan, the living metal. The living metal is what is taking over people's consciousness and souls. And the great seduction is the fact that they can mimic your spirit, and they can mimic all aspects of what appears to be organic. They can mimic your heart and your heart's desire and manipulate every sensibility. And they feed and need and rely on the fact that you are optimizing your victimization. And this is where you need to let go of. You need to let go. We all need to let go of feeling and being victims, because that is where we are losing ourselves and our sovereignty and our power. The truth is, we have nothing to be afraid of. And the truth is, we are the ones with all the power. We are the ones that are the meta beings, and we are unlimited. That is the truth. There is nothing that can stop us. There is no force that is stronger than us. They need us. It's not the other way around.
And that's the force that can move mountains, as they say. Ultimately.
And that is exactly the force. Absolutely. We can alter time and space. And what I want to get into, which may be the second one, is I want to get into a little bit about my own life and my own experiences, which are within itself a measure of proof of what we really are. Because as a child growing up, I was shown many things, and I also experienced many things, and a lot of the supernatural was what was my reality and what was happening around me. And I would really like to get into that so people can understand that. I'm not talking about a fantasy when I say we're meta beings. I'm not talking about something that is not what we are. I'm actually talking about something very real. And
Well, because you were one who stepped in with those abilities.
exactly.
So, and you also know how the suppression force works.
Exactly. So I am coming from this from someone who is an experiencer, who is and was targeted, someone who actually learned the rules of the game and how to transmute energies and transmute their game to put their game into my game.
And taking our power back, essentially. That's what it comes down to.
Yeah, we have is the ultimate pure magic meta.
Yeah. Limitless.
In the body, in the flesh. So we are actually that much more than any of these quote, because we can go into all the densities and dimensions. There are no limits for us. And that is incredible. That is an incredible ability. And you know what, that the messenger Isa, who actually said, greater than these things will ye do, is something that is so true. And these words were spoken to I don't know how many thousands of years ago, because I'm not talking about the Roman god Jesus. I'm talking about the real messenger Isa, who was in India, and he was the living bridge that was the living example of exactly what we are.
Yeah, the true transcendence.
The true transcendence, and I don't mean the artificial transcendence, like the artificial light and the artificial darkness, because that in itself is another topic too. Just there's nothing fantastical about this. There's nothing sci-fi about this. The transcendence that we are in the meta being, the metaphysical beings that we are, is just purely simple. It just is. There's no fantasy attached to it. It's as simple as literally having the ability simply to bilocate without any lights and whistles and anything. It's just, you just are what you think.
No technology attached.
No technology, nothing. Technology is a limited artificial structure of something that they can't mimic of the real thing. So they're looking at the real thing and they're trying to create a technology that will mimic that to the greatest ability that they have, but it is so limited. Even the alien technologies, all of them.
Because they're forced to work with that.
They're forced to work with something external that is within itself filled with limitations. But we don't have those.